Welcome to an interview with Eddie Stern, a founder of Broome Street Ganesh Temple and Broome Street Yoga, author of the best-selling book One Simple Thing, A New Look at the Science of Yoga and How It Can Change Your Life, a researcher who is based in New York City. He is also the co-creator of Breathing Up. Enjoy! Hello, Eddie.
Hello, Paulina.
Thank you so much for finding time to sit and talk here with
Of course,
me.
absolutely.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for our workshop yesterday. It was super interesting to do the sequence with you.
Cool. What did you find interesting about it?
Calming nervous system, and it really made me feel peaceful. And it's not always what I get from the practice, honestly. So maybe sometimes I'm in a rush too much when doing it. But yesterday I felt some space in the body. And at the end, the connection that you made with mind and a body, and transferring those feelings from mind into the body was it was like a fulfillment, and it was in a union, like what they say, yoga is a union of body and mind. And I really felt that yesterday. So it was first time that someone introduced something like that to me, and it was very important.
I'm so glad you felt that, and I'm really glad that you sort of tuned into that last part so much, because this was something that I hadn't been taught by somebody, but just occurred to me from within being present, which is how a lot of the sequences that I'm teaching now just have come from paying attention to my body and my mind and how I feel. And so this idea of that when you're done resting, you have this internal sense of how you feel. And you just check in, am I calm? Am I relaxed? Am I quiet? Am I happy? Am I sad? Whatever it might be. And then you feel your physical state. How does your body feel? Is it balanced? Is it stable? Is it steady? Is it energized? And then you allow your inner feeling to merge into the way your physical body feels, and also how your physical body feels into your inner state as well. And so if inside you feel calm and physically you feel strong or stable, then you let that calmness pervade stability, and you let the stability of the body like pervade this calmness that you might feel inside. And so this is true mind-body integration. And one of the things about yoga is that it's considered that the mind and body are a continuum, that like they're not separate. Yeah. But we spend a lot of time separating those two things apart from each other. You know, my mind is telling me one thing, my body is telling me another. I'm not listening to my body because I got stuff to do. Yeah. And so then we keep separating these things further and further apart, but really they're one thing happening together. And we have to work a little bit to let that flow into each other. So I'm glad you felt that. That's cool.
Yeah, thank you very much for leading the practice this way yesterday. It was.
And we only did, as I said last night, the first beginning part of it. We didn't even go through the whole sequence. And we took our time. But still, I think for everyone, when I said to everyone, so we've been practicing for a little over an hour already, people looked a little surprised that the time had passed so quickly.
Yeah.
Did you feel the time passed quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I was shocked when you said it's 1 hour. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons why the time passes quickly is that there isn't an idea of getting to the end of something. And when you look to the end of something, you think, oh, I have to get through all these different parts to get there. And then you have this timeline, and timelines always stretch out. But what I try to do is make it so that each thing which is being done is its own thing, and you're only present within that thing. And then afterwards you do another thing where you're just fully trying to be present with your breath and your awareness in that thing. And then after, like, another thing will come also. So in that way, your awareness is being present here. Okay, now your awareness is present here. Now your awareness is present here. And your awareness is not like, how am I going to get to the end of this thing?
Yeah.
You know, which happens, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes with practices, all different practices.
Yeah, I guess.
So over the years, of course, I've experienced all these different types of things. And so I keep thinking, well, what kind of approach can I take to using my body, my breath, and my mind to make sure that I'm feeling in touch with what yoga is supposed to be for, according to the yoga texts, and keep aligning with that. So that's sort of like what I'm doing now and for the past few years, like solely just being present with that, thinking about that, experimenting with that. Then also at the very end of the asana portion, we did yoga mudra, and then we did slow breathing in the belly. And then I said, okay, now let your breathing relax and interlace your fingers and just sit calmly for a minute. So at that point, did you feel that your awareness got just naturally quiet?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes at the end it is still very active with Utplutihi, you know, for example. And here my shoulders went down. I was just so comfortable, you
Good.
know. So,
Yeah, I feel that if we do things in sort of a measured manner, and also the postures are sequenced in the right kind of a way, that at the end of it, you can just naturally move into a meditative state.
yeah.
And that's the purpose of asanas anyway, to move you into a meditative state. So great. I'm glad it worked for you. Success. Yay.
I wonder how we can expand the practice when you are in Europe or in Poland, because you teach in New York, right, every day. So what if someone would like to practice the sequence but is living here? Where
Well,
do
I
you
mean,
teach?
I teach online. All of my classes are online.
Okay,
They're
okay.
in
I saw
person
pranayama
and they're
online,
online.
but okay.
Everything,
That's in
yeah. My whole
Sangraha.
schedule is both.
Oh,
Yeah. So everything is hybrid for me. And then I come to Europe all the time. I mean, I'll be in Europe this month. I'm here now. I'll be in England in April. And then in May and June, I'm back again. I'm in Helsinki, and then I'm in Italy, and then I'm back in Poland in September. And so I'll be in Europe probably like six or at least 6 times this year, maybe 8, but I think definitely 6.
okay.
And so there's opportunities. And here in Krakow, there's one Yoga Sangraha teacher. His name is Adam,
Yeah.
and he was there last night. And there's another in Wrocław. And so there's a few people around. They might not be teaching in schools yet, but they're here. So, so, and you know, then you can take classes online. You can practice these things on your own. You can watch videos that I have on my website. Come to workshops, and then there are definitely teachers around here. And this is all very new. I mean, you know, I only named what I was doing 2 years ago. I mean, I've been experimenting with these things for about 10 years and playing around with a lot of different things. But I only decided to give it a name 2 years ago. And then we only started training people how to teach it last year. So this is very new. And so, but there are a bunch of teachers like here and there, not a lot of them, but you know, a couple of handfuls. And most of them are in Europe.
Okay, great. Good to know.
In America, I really only teach in New York City. Like in Europe, I come and I travel all over and teach, but I don't travel around America and teach. I'm just in New York. So we don't have as many Yoga Sangraha teachers in the States as we do in Europe.
Okay, great. So yeah, we are actually in a pretty good situation.
Yeah, you guys you're leading the pack.
Yeah. My first question usually is, how did your practice evolve over the years? So I have a feeling that we covered part of that, but you are a very experienced yoga practitioner. You practice over 38 years?
Yeah, I started in 1986.
86, okay.
So now we're coming up on,
40.
this is my 40th year anniversary of yoga.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
And
it'll be 40 years in September.
wow, okay. So how do you see it evolved a lot, right? Since the beginning.
The only thing which has evolved or changed is the way that I do postures. And that's changed a bunch of different times. But certain things haven't changed. The thing that hasn't changed is my utter fascination with yoga and with trying to like know who I am and be who I am. So that part hasn't changed. And that drives everything, you know, wanting to know who I am and be who I am and understand what is awareness, what's consciousness, what's the world, you know, what are relationships, all these things. Those are the things that have always driven me. And then I've used different things, different practices to try to help understand what those things are. So the purpose isn't like to do postures or get good at them or to learn a system. I got sidetracked for a while trying to get good at a system. But really the thing underneath it, which drives it, is those other questions that I just mentioned. And then the yoga practices themselves are only supposed to help me understand that better. But when I started in the 1980s, the first thing, and I've mentioned this before in interviews, is that when my friend who I'd met was telling me about yoga, and I said, I want to do this, I want to like get liberated. I was about 18 or so at the time. What do I have to do? And he said, you have to become a vegetarian first. And so that's what I did. And then I was meditating and doing meditative practices, but I didn't do asanas till sometime later. So my first yoga practice was like vegetarian diet, trying to purify my body a little, meditation, and then reading books on yoga. And that was my practice. And I didn't even know it was a practice because we didn't use that word back then. I didn't hear this word, you know, yoga practice or do your practice until I started doing Ashtanga yoga in Mysore. Before that, I'd never heard those phrases. No one I knew ever used them. There was no idea that yoga was something you practiced. Mm-hmm. Like you practice piano or you practice guitar. You know, I was a guitar player, so I used to practice guitar. But yoga you don't practice. Yoga you live, you know? And so that was very odd for me. But then I started getting into that mindset, you know, little by little. It wasn't very healthy. And I think that was a big distraction for my actual search. And there's a number of reasons why I let myself get so caught up in it for such a long time. But that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you have to be in one particular situation, you don't know why, until you're not in it anymore. And then you look back at it and go, I wonder why I was there for so long, you know? But that's how it goes. So, you know, and maybe I'm a slow learner. So yeah, I was doing Kundalini yoga in the beginning, and then Shivananda yoga, and then Ashtanga yoga, and then I started learning some yoga therapy type things in Bangalore from this university I went to, SVyasa. But all the while I was developing my own sort of approach to, you know, how to be embodied and how to be present. And my interest in science and then getting a science degree, you know, a few years ago and all that, all just helped support what I'm doing now, I think. And what I'm doing now is not always going to be what I'm doing, you know. Maybe one day I'll develop something else. But for the time being, I like it quite a lot, and it seems to be helping people. So, but it's young, and it will continue to evolve, and hopefully get better.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the Ashtanga system is also pretty, maybe it shouldn't be, but sometimes it can be focused on the progress and like getting into next pose. And sometimes I think people may feel stuck, that they are stuck in one pose for a long, long time and they cannot um, expand further the practice. What would you recommend for someone in that situation? Is it even, sometimes we think we don't make progress, but is it true? It shouldn't be measured like that, right?
Well, it shouldn't be measured like that, but in some systems it is measured like that. And that, doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, even though I did that for a long time. And the problems that can come from that are often related to this idea of making progress, of getting better, of getting a pose or getting help in a pose, and all those types of things. And there's other things you can learn too. You can learn patience, you can learn dedication, you can learn some positive things too, but on a physical level, it doesn't make any sense. And from a mental level, you're going to learn whatever lessons you're going to learn. But when it comes to the physical body, there are things that we have certain anatomy considerations we have to take into account. Not everybody's body is going to work or move the same way. So there needs to be options for people. And as well, certain parts of sequences don't work well for everybody. And if people feel compulsive about having to do those things, then they can have long-term damage, which I've seen a lot of, and which I have myself also. So I think that whatever's occurring with the Ashtanga Yoga system is not something I really like to comment or speak about anymore, because I'm not teaching it and I'm not practicing it. And what I want to do is stand for the thing that I really believe in, but I'm doing it because I believe in it, because it's good and it works and it makes you feel happy for the most part, or at least it makes me feel happy. And so I do this not because it's an answer against something else. Mm-hmm. It's not a response to, oh, Ashtanga Yoga didn't work, so now I'm doing this. It's not against anything. It's for something. It's for yoga. And it's not against other systems, any other system. It has to be fully positive. And if it's not fully positive, then it's not going to work. It's not going to do what it's supposed to do. So I'm not so concerned about the problems of Ashtanga Yoga. I'm only concerned about problems that might arise from what I'm doing, and to look and be present with those.
Yeah. I like what you said about practice is kind of pleasant and joyful. And the joy was also the feeling and some kind of lightness, just being happy.
Yeah, and I've had joy from all of the different practices I've done. Every different type of practice I've done, there's been some measure of joy. And then there's been some measure of something else which hasn't been good, and maybe made the joy or the freedom of it a little bit pushed down. Which means at that point, if I can't make it work at a certain point, then I have to find something else which does work. So I think that there's, I've found goodness and joy in everything I've done. And But for all those things, for whatever reason, at a certain point, it stopped working for me. And that's okay. That's fine. You know, people change, life changes, mentalities change, bodies change, and it's okay. You know, to hold on to something for longer than you should, which isn't working for you anymore, is not a recipe for happiness.
Absolutely. I think it takes also a lot of courage to step away sometimes from whatever doesn't serve you anymore. And just thank you for the time, for the lessons that we get from any situations, from yoga practice, from job, from whatever.
Totally. And you know, also, I look at it just a little bit in reverse, which is that not that if something doesn't serve you, then you should leave. But if I can't serve that thing properly anymore, then it's time for me to go. You know. Otherwise, there's an expectation that this thing was supposed to do something for me.
Yeah.
And that's maybe not the right view. So I just think of it the other way, like I can't serve this thing honestly anymore or authentically. So, okay, let it remain with the people who can serve it well and not with me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. I have a last question.
Okay.
If someone wants to start and thinks that has a little time during the day, like let's say 10-15 minutes, what would you recommend for that person to do?
Well, it all depends on what they're working on. So if they want to do meditation, if they want to do strength building, if they want to do some asanas, if they want to do breathing, they should figure out what's the thing that they want to do in those 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be the same thing every day. The first day of the week, you could do 15 minutes of slow breathing. Next day, you could do 15 minutes of a few asanas. Next day, you could do 15 minutes of some calisthenics to strengthen your body. You know, next day, you could do 15 minutes of something else. So you figure out what the things are that you want to work on, and then you come up with a plan for each day, and then you do that plan each day.
And stick to the plan if you can, right? Keep some
kind of a plan is good, but variation is also important because nature likes change. Nature likes a little bit of chaos. Nature doesn't like things to be the same all the time. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seasons.
Exactly.
We wouldn't have different climates.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have anything. Everything would be the same. There'd be no reason for creation. So nature likes a little bit of variation. So it's good for us to have some variation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Thank you so much, Eddie.
You're welcome, Paulina.
It was so nice to meet you.
You as well.
And yeah, have a great time in Poland and
Thank
hope
you.
to see you here again.
Me too. Thank you.